Hello and welcome everybody to part 2 of Game 4 of IMMvp versus SlayerSMMA from the GeForce StarCraft 2 Pro-Am tournament. This is a best of 5. So far, we've seen both players doing pretty well. MMA trying to be a little bit aggressive in this game, constantly trying to apply pressure to his opponent, but both players at the moment sitting back, taking their gold expansions pretty much at identical timings, although we do have an expansion here going down for MMA in the back, not actually choosing to take his gold right away, though he is long distance mining from the gold. We actually on the production tab don't see a command center going down yet to be able to take that gold, so this is actually going to be an interesting move here from MMA because he now doesn't have to defend a forward gold expansion. This expansion is a little bit easier to defend, but he's kind of sort of mining off of the gold a little bit, so he's getting a tiny bit of the benefit from being on a gold expansion without having to defend, so it's kind of an interesting move there from MMA. Now planning down a sensor tower. I love this. I love it when Terran players use those sensor towers. Those sensor towers are not used nearly enough. Oh, MMA not making the best choice. They're landing his Vikings up there on the high ground when MVP did have that Xel'Naga watchtower, so taking quite a bit of damage there from those siege tanks. In the meantime, these Thors doing exactly what I was hoping they would do, breaking these siege tank lines, but there are just, holy cow, so many siege tanks here going down, able to take on those Thors, and MMA actually smashes that little attack there. But as we can see right now, this is the perfect example of what I was talking about, what I've talked about in previous games, where that Xel'Naga tower giving such good vision to those siege tanks can fire farther than they can actually see, so because MVP was there on that Xel'Naga watchtower, his siege tanks were able to shoot MMA siege tanks, which were unable to shoot back because they just didn't have that range. MMA finally getting that scan going down though, able to take down a few siege tanks, and MVP actually not with the planetary fortress here at this gold expansion. Looks like MMA going to start to apply pressure on this expansion. 2 Hellions sneaking in the back, trying to get a few kills there. Did they manage to get any kills? Actually, looks like, no, not really. They got 2 SCV workers kills, but nice move here from MMA, actually going down below, picking off a few more worker kills there from the low ground. Siege tank up here, 1 siege tank on the high ground for MMA to apply pressure to this expansion, and MVP is going to have to struggle here to catch up. He is currently behind in the food count, 137 food to 90 food, and MVP being forced to use his scans right now instead of on mules, but on these units. But because MMA has the Xel'Naga watchtower, he's not having to use all the scans that MVP is having to use, on an interesting mule there going down for MVP. I don't know exactly why he called it down. I think that was actually a mistake there. But all the forces of MVP actually moving forward, able to break the siege tank line of MMA, and they are now moving across the map. And I think he's actually going to be surprised to see that no gold expansion has gone down here. And yes, we see that MVP is now sieging up here at this position to start firing on this gold expansion, but as he can see that there is no gold expansion there right now. He can see that it is being mined. If you actually see that, that's one way that a lot of times I, as a Zerg player, I'll place my overlords way far back, just enough so that I can see these minerals, because if you see them shimmering like that, you can actually tell when those minerals are being mined, just because they are just shimmering just a little bit. The forces of MVP now moving back here to the back of the base of MMA, sieging up. MMA with very, very good map awareness, pulling all his SCVs off the line before they take any damage here, but nice unit positioning here from MVP, preventing all mining on that expansion. Looks like MMA has decided to finally take his gold expansion, is now pulling all of his workers to start mining on that gold. In the meantime, a bit of a counterattack here coming in from MMA. MMA now moving in with a lot of siege tanks. He said, hey, well, since your siege tanks are all the way back there, preventing my third from doing damage, I'm just going to move in with my siege tanks. I'm going to siege up here. I'm going to be able to deal a lot of damage here to your other expansion, but a lot of Thors are now moving in for MVP. I think they are going to be able to clean up this attack, and yeah, they are doing quite a bit of damage. These siege tanks from MMA are +2 in attack upgrades, but so are these Thors and siege tanks from MVP, and it looks like MVP was able to break those siege tanks there. Still moving in, but there's quite a bit of a line of siege tanks there from MMA, actually able to pick off quite a few of the Thors of MVP, and those Thors are darned expensive. Boy, do I tell you, those Thors burn resources like no other. But as we can see, MMA is now well mining on this base. Even though mining has still been prevented here from MMA, he is now mining on this gold expansion and getting a ton of resources. Still way up in the food count, 126 food to 86 food of MVP. Will MMA be able to take the next game in this series? That will mean that we are 2-2 if MMA is able to take this game and defend this big push, but this is kind of a scary push here from MVP right now. He has this Thor in the front to take any damage from siege tanks. In the back, he's got siege tanks to dish the damage to these Hellions of MMA, and actually on the production tab right now, we can see that MVP is actually researching his +3 vehicle weapons. The command center falls at the gold expansion there. Not enough repairing there from MMA, and he actually loses his gold expansion. This is going to be huge. One siege tank at the back right now is preventing any mining from going on at this third base, and it looks like MVP is going to go around and try to continue to shut down mining. In the meantime, he's leaving, looks like, well, no, he's not leaving. I thought he was going to leave a couple of siege tanks here to prevent more mining from going on at that gold expansion, and that might be exactly what MVP is doing as he's now moving around. In the meantime, we do have a bit of a drop here in the back for MMA, not able to do too much damage. Looks like he managed to pick up a few worker kills. 32 worker kills currently for MMA. Sorry if I missed that drop there. It's just too much going on all over the map right now. But looks like this drop has now been picked up by this medevac. He's going to be dropping in the back of MVP's base, and MVP didn't have any units there immediately in position to deal it, and those Hellions get picked up right away. In the meantime, a big attack coming from the front. All the SCVs from MMA being pulled. Looks like he's going to need to do a lot of damage here, and no, actually no. He's just going to go back to mining. He's finally broken this this contain there on that third base, and he's now going to go start mining there again. Wouldn't be surprised to see him start to take this gold again, as he is deciding to be aggressive and control the center of the map. In the meantime, MVP deciding to just go around to continue to try to prevent mining if he can. These drops from MMA starting to be quite good, able to deal more damage there. If we check out the workers killed, up to 38 workers killed now for MMA. Checking out the harvester tab right now, we can see that MMA is way ahead right now, 68 harvesters to the 34 harvesters of MVP. MVP not in the best of position, despite having done quite a bit of damage and taking out the army of MMA. Now moving in, trying to deal a lot of damage, being caught out of positions, not able to quite siege up there, getting stuck on that ramp there, not able to escape because the destructible rocks are still up there, and holy cow, will MMA be able to take this game? 126 food to 93 food right now, and it looks like the forces of MMA are now moving and gathering for one big attack. MVP coming in with a few siege tanks here, and I don't think he's going to have what it takes to hold off this attack. All the SCVs being pulled now from MMA. MMA, knowing that he's way ahead in worker count, is just going to use those workers to try to absorb some damage, while his siege tanks and Hellions dish the damage. Now moving in, dealing a lot of damage here to the forces of MVP, and it looks like MVP might actually lose this gold expansion, and the lift up there from MVP, able to save his gold expansion from going down. He's mining lightly on this third expansion, but it's not looking good for MVP right now. The food count is currently 74 to 114, and the siege up by MMA just in time as all the units of MVP come. SCVs are being pulled off the line to try to defend this attack, but it looks like MMA with the miracle siege tank win. Looks like he is going to be able to take game 4. Well, MVP just being able to break that with that Thor. This Thor is +3 in its attack upgrades. MMA still at +2 weapon upgrades for his unit, so he's a little bit behind, but he's still continuing to do a lot of harassment with the small number of Hellions, able to get more workers killed. 67 workers killed right now for MMA, and 52 workers to 8 right now. MVP just lost so many workers in that exchange, despite holding it off. Was not able to deal, was not able to save enough workers, and it looks like MVP is on the ropes right now. 41 food to 90 food. He's got a couple Thors marching across the map. He needs this attack to deal as much damage as he can, but things are not looking good here for MVP, as MVP tries to take a little bit of map control in that Xel'Naga watchtower, but MMA being so annoying with these Hellions coming in, constantly counterattacking. There is no mining going on at this expansion for MVP. MMA constantly attacking with those Hellions. I'm actually missing some of the counterattacks as these Hellions are continuing to move around these back expansions here and getting a lot of worker kills. These Hellions themselves have 9 kills and 4 kills, doing pretty well. MVP going to try to prevent mining some more as he is now moving around the back of the base of MMA, but MMA again pulling his workers just in time. Not going to take too much worker damage from there, but he's not mining on that gold expansion. But I don't really know that he needs to at this point. At this point, he's 107 food to the 45 food of MVP. MMA is just going to macro up a big army and go for a big push and probably be able to defend this. Again, MVP is putting most of his forces up here on this high ground. This leaves this whole middle of the map open to counterattacks, and that is exactly what MMA is going to do. He's going to say, hey, you know what? Again, you're leaving all your forces up there. Well, I'm just going to go kill you then. No, actually, no. Completely misquoting MMA there, as MMA has actually decided, you know what? No, I can kill this attack. So he's just going to go up there and try to finish off this attack. And yeah, we do see that this Thor is going to try to get picked up here by these Blue Flame Hellions. These Thors do a lot of damage, but that is a lot of Blue Flame Hellions to have to deal with. And yes, those Blue Flame Hellions, which are now 3 in their attack upgrades are going to be able to clean that up pretty well. In the meantime, holy cow, these Hellions doing so good. Constant Hellion counterattacks, just 2 Hellions. This is 200 minerals right here. That's all this is. Dealing so much damage. Anytime they get, anytime MVP tries to stop those Hellions, he just pulls back to his units. So good. And you know what? Because this expansion has been harassed so much, MMA has decided to go for this expansion down here, and it looks like he's going to be able to hold that really well. 22 food right now to the 92 food of MMA, and the GG from MVP. Holy cow! You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? That means we are 2-2 in the series. That means we are going into Game 5 of this best of 5. SlayerSMMA at 2 wins, IMMvp at 2 wins, and we are going to go into Game 5 to see who can take the whole series. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be an exciting finish to this match, I promise, or at least I hope to. It's kind of an empty promise. I haven't actually seen the game. Okay, into Game 5 right now.